What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's episode we are parts hunting. I actually just got out of O'Reilly here and picked up a couple things: clutch slave and clutch master. So yesterday I was gonna go for a test drive with my little man over here because he likes the car so much. And then the clutch line actually blew on me, like lost pressure, sprayed all over my transmission and a little bit on the exhaust. So I'm going to be replacing that, and I figured why not also replace the whole clutch system, because I don't want to fix this today and then tomorrow this thing goes out. Now the nice thing about the O'Reilly one is they actually sell the metal body. So this is a metal body and this is also a metal body. Now you can get this, I believe the factory one is actually all plastic, so it's nice that they carry the metal body one. So that takes care of the upgrade. I'm going to call it an upgrade. Now I did check on the other store. AutoZone carries it as well. I think CarQuest also, but this is the only local one that carries it in-house. So the other ones I needed to order, which I didn't want to do that because I wanted to get this thing fixed today. I had the week off, by the way, so it is in the middle of the week, which is unusual for me to make trips in the middle of the week because I usually work pretty long hours. Alright, so that brings us to the question of where am I going to get my clutch line. So the auto parts store here don't really carry the clutch line like at all. I had to order it online. Now there are two local Audi shops that sells this stuff for me. The first one is 034 Motorsports, which apparently if you go to their store, they don't really sell you the parts. They have to get it from the warehouse. So the only way that they'll say it to you in person is if you actually get the repair done in their shop. Which means I couldn't buy it yesterday, even though I was literally right there. Well, I guess technically their warehouse is probably not in the same location or proximity, but their shop doesn't carry it. You can't buy it in their shop. Okay, that brings me to the next local one, which is JH Motorsports. That's sort of local. I mean, I guess it's an hour drive, local enough that I can actually go pick it up. Now the problem is I called both of those places and none of them picked up. So that's no good because yesterday I would have saved at least an hour drive. Now hopefully I can pick this up today because I'm about to burn 2 hours of my time. So yeah, so we are gonna go to Lathrop and take my little man because he likes to go everywhere with me. We're gonna go there and hopefully they can sell it to me in person. If not, I gotta order it online just so they can ship it to my house. Alright guys, so we are here in Lathrop and I think I'm like a minute away, so I should be seeing it here shortly. Here it is, JH Motorsports. Let's look for the parking lots. Alright, let's check this out. It's a nice little warehouse. It looks like they have the warehouse here, so maybe hopefully they'll sell me the part. Alright guys, so JH Motorsport did come true. So I got it. What I want to do is I want to check the fittings here to make sure it's the right fitting, and I'm sure it's the right one, but I gotta be sure before I leave their facility. That way if it's not the right one or if I need something else, right, this would be a good time to buy it because they have the warehouse here. So the good thing about buying your slave and master is you could actually now test it right on the spot. I don't need it to be in the house. So looks right. I do want to show you guys, check out the parking lot of JH Motorsports. Look at all that Audi. Alright guys, we are back in the garage. Got all the parts right here opened up, and then we're gonna go ahead and install this part. Now I do have my factory one here. This is actually one of my backup that I had. Came with the transmission, and here is the new units. Now this thing is plastic, that's metal, which is nice. Now the unit that I have in the car is actually not leaking, but because I'm changing it now, I'm gonna go ahead and change everything. That way I don't have to do this again. Now this should not be that difficult, but it looks like I will probably end up having to remove my exhaust manifold here. Alright, the other one that I need to figure out how to do or take off is this one right here. So the master cylinder looks like a couple bolts in the bottom Now the pressure line itself, which is this one right here, looks like that's through the firewall. Wait a minute. That is awesome. Check it out, guys. So it looks like this is actually the one that feeds the master cylinder, and then that's the and then that's the pressure line right there that goes to the slave. That's awesome. With this thing being gone right here, because normally you'd have the ECU right here, and then you have the firewall, and you have the covers, you have all that stuff. Well, with that being gone, it's actually really accessible, which is pretty awesome. That means I can disconnect it pretty quickly and then route everything from here. Let's check out the lines. So it is a standard 3AN stainless steel line. Let's see, how should we route this thing? Now, you know what, guys, I will be putting the 90 bend right here, wherever you see that, and then the bottom one will get the straight fitting. It's gonna be something like this. Alright, the first thing I'm gonna do is install this fitting right here, because this one was really tight when I was trying to test fit it. I added some brake fluid just to make sure, make it a little bit easier to work with. Kind of slips it right in there. It's a really tight fit. I need it to get pushed about, I want to say, 1/8 of an inch, and then I can actually lock it in place. Just gonna be careful here. Okay, I think I got it just enough that I can clip this. Let's see. Nope. I just need like a little tiny bit. Okay. I think that's good. Yep. There you go. So that's the master. Now, definitely, I don't think I could do that with it being mounted in the car. So definitely mount that first, and then do the hard line after. The 3AN is going to be pretty easy to mount on here afterwards. So that's the master, and let's do the slave. And I'll do the same thing. I'll lubricate this with .4 brake fluid. Alright, let's see here. Now, normally, you're going to want to be careful with the clutch line there. Alright, so this is the one that was on the car. It was held up by one bolt right here. And as you guys can see, it still looks pretty good. Oh, I just dripped some in my exhaust. I just gotta make sure this thing stays above the reservoir. This looks like it could be a problem. This thing is actually stuck. This line is trash anyway, because that's the one I'm replacing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it instead of me trying to figure out how to take it off. This thing's tough. There you go. So I was kind of staring at this for some time to see how to take this off. It was locked in like this, right where the yellow was. Just like that. What you have to do is pull it out. I just use a plier, and then I guess it slides out like this. Oh. Okay. Should have probably unclipped that one first. I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt those two bolts, and then I think I just have a line on the back, and that's it. Alright, so here's the one that came off the car. So it looks pretty good, no leaks. So it looks like it was in pretty decent shape. What's interesting though is I didn't realize this, but there's no cover for it. That's weird. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back. I'm gonna go see if I can put this on. If not, I'll just put it back like it is. So I was able to take out the old line here, and it's definitely because it's old. Check out where the burst is right there. So at first I was thinking it got too close to my exhaust and kind of burnt it, but taking this out, doesn't look like it. It's just an old line. What a pain. Alright guys, so I have everything connected. It is a little bit long. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it kind of makes like, it goes like this and then makes a loop. Seems like they give you enough length to go the factory route, which makes sense. It will go all the way this way, come back around and make that loop like that. Now for mine, I don't want to make that loop because I do have an exhaust that crosses over from the driver's side to the passenger side, so I just want to avoid that altogether. Now to bleed this, I have the bleed screw connected there, and I have it draining out right here on a small drain pan using a hose. That way I can see how much or where all the fluid is going. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and keep pumping this. Alright, now we're getting some pressure. And I want to actually pump this to make sure that it's engaging the clutch and not going straight through. So I'm also checking for that, and it seems like we're getting a good grip there. So let's go ahead and bleed this. Kind of old school, so sometimes you gotta improvise a bit. And then I'm gonna open up the bleed screw and then just kind of repeat that process until I bleed up all the system. Alright guys, so everything is put back in place. Those are tightened, those are good. The one in the bottom is good. I did want to show you guys something new. Now, as you guys notice, there is some metal shaving on here, or some aluminum shavings. That's because I added something different on the clutch. So if you guys look over here, I now have an adjuster or a stopper for how far this pedal goes all the way up. What happened was, when I was installing this thing, somehow it popped up all the way and basically ripped this piston off the master cylinder. Now the cylinder itself isn't leaking, it's still working as it should. It's just that that piston is no longer sorry, kind of stopped talking because there's a little bit of a leak right there. I'm gonna wipe that out, just make sure that that's not new. It's probably just a leftover, but just in case, I'm gonna wipe it off. That way if there's anything else that comes up later, I'll know that it's brand new, or if there's nothing there, then there's nothing there. Alright, so as I was saying, piston basically came off the master cylinder, and I mean the master cylinder was still working, so that was good to go. It's just that I guess the little locking mechanism is not as good as the one up from the factory. The factory one locked on there pretty good. This one's not so much. And then I also noticed that kind of like the brake here, there is this little bit of a play before he actually starts engaging the cylinder. It had the same thing for the clutch. So now I can adjust how far this pedal goes up. So now I actually removed the slack, so when you press it, it actually starts to engage. So basically there was a little bit of slop here where it kind of just this. So that's now gone. But of course, the best way to test that is to turn on the car. So let's do that. I can hear it disengaging. You know what, guys? I never felt this before, but it was kind of hard to shift last time. Check this out. This right here, no engagement. I can't shift into gear. Looks like my disconnect is right here. So I only really need to push the clutch up until right here. Alright, so a couple of things to note here, guys. The first one is I could actually feel the difference between this one and the factory setup that I had on there. The engagement on it is a lot more crisp. Like as soon as I press it, I could actually determine it's about this much space where I engage the clutch or I disengage the clutch. So that's a pretty good finding, considering that I was having a hard time shifting between first and second. It was like really, I'm like pushing the clutch all the way, but I'm still not getting that full disengagement. So that's a really good find. So that clutch line going out is actually one of the really good things that happened on this car. Now what I'm not too sure though is because I replaced 3 different things, I'm not sure what really contributed to that sloppiness in the clutch disengagement. It could be the old lines because now it's expanding because, you know, it's old. Or it could also be, well, I guess technically the clutch master and the clutch slave, it's also old and it's not functioning as it should. Now either way, I'm pretty happy that I replaced everything because now I'm getting that really good disconnect or that disengagement from the clutch. Now with that said, I will be keeping my clutch master and my clutch slave as a backup. Ideally, if I have to replace them again, I'll just get a brand new one. But you never really know if you get stuck in a situation where you need to replace the part right away, especially for what I have planned for this car. I never really know what is gonna go out next. Alright guys, so with the clutch line back in place, I think we're ready to go for another test drive. Oh boy. Never mind the test drive, guys. Yeah. My clutch master just exploded on me. That's a brand new master too. Get a bit of a problem. So it looks like when I start moving, the car starts to overheat. It means it can't pull enough air in the back there. I need to create a funnel. Oh boy. Alright, so I gotta take it easy for the next drive until you get home. I think I still have trapped air inside because I wasn't having this issue last time. When I stopped, it was at 336. So if I basically stand still, it's able to cool it. But as soon as I start moving, it starts generating quite a bit of heat, and you can't evacuate it. I think it's just because the way my radiator in the back is set up. As soon as that thing turns green, we're gonna go ahead and go for it. We're at 205, so definitely dropping the temperature. Now we're at 199. So yeah, I definitely can't get enough air when we're moving. That's the problem. So as soon as I stop, it's dropping it. Alright, go back to the drawing board and see what we need to do. Guys, got some bad news here. Well, the good news is the clutch is fixed, so that's all good. So the bad news is I was kind of thinking that I was gonna need something for this anyway, but I was kind of thinking it was more for like extra kind of stuff, not like I need to do this kind of thing. But apparently I do, which is interesting because I didn't have issues before, but at the same time I didn't really drive it that far before, so this is like the longest drive I've ever taken it to. Still, it was interesting because last time I drove it, it didn't give me any problems, which is weird. But this time around it did. So what I'm gonna have to do now is actually figure out how to route the air from the front here. Maybe add like some sort of duct that goes up this way. Yeah, so because I think what's happening is that at high speed, and when I say high speed, I'm only talking like 40-50 miles per hour, so it's not a whole lot of speed. I think at that point everything here just get recirculated, or my fan stalls out. You can't pull out any more air from the front because it's just working against the air that's coming in here from the back. So yeah, it's not gonna work. So that means really only way I could make this work is if I add something that routes all the air up, and then also add something here that routes everything back. Just enough. Man, this car is just becoming such a pain right now with all this random stuff that it's doing. But that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.